start with a simple question. When was the last time you paused, truly paused, to ask yourself, why do I do what I do every single day? Not just for your to-do list, not for the endless scrolling, but pausing to ask yourself, what really matters to me in life? What do I believe in? For most of us, life moves fast. We run on assumptions of who we should be and what we should achieve. But what if there was a reason to slow down, to think more reflectively, to find some clarity, to ask better questions, not just to survive life, but to truly live it? Today, I want to dispel some of the myths around what philosophy is and show how it can help you find your way to a better life. So, the word philosophy can sound intimidating. Be honest, who hears that word and immediately pictures ancient Greeks in white togas, or academic philosophers arguing about existentialism? Yes, that's what I used to think. To me, philosophy felt too intellectual, abstract, irrelevant and disconnected from the reality of my own life. But practical philosophy offers us something else. At its heart, philosophy is the art of thinking. And it's what the educational philosopher Anne Sharp called living a good life. And that means asking ourselves deeper questions, like, what sort of person do I want to be? How can I better understand myself, other people, and the world around me? And how can I contribute to society in a good way? These are important questions, and I believe that they are central to us as human beings. They are about what matters in life. They shape how we think, live, and relate to one another. Now, I am not an academic philosopher. I don't have a degree in philosophy, and I'm not wearing a white toga. I'm an ordinary person, having lived an ordinary life here in my hometown of Gosport for many years. But I am a philosophical thinking person. I first stumbled across philosophy 20 years ago at a school training day here in Gosport. At the time, I was a primary school teacher, disillusioned with the teaching of facts and preparing children for tests. Back then, I didn't know what kind of teacher, I didn't know what kind of person I wanted to be. I'd never stopped to think about it. That day, I discovered Philosophy for Children, a nationally recognised approach to teaching and learning which encourages children and young people to think for themselves through thinking and talking with each other. It gave me my educational home, and frankly, a personal one too. From then on, I was completely hooked. I spent hours encouraging children to become philosophical thinkers and training teachers so that they could do the same in their classrooms. But philosophy has also become a really important part of my everyday life. A way to better thinking, better questioning, better understanding of other people, and living a more thoughtful life. Okay, let me show you how it works. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I'd like you to just hold those responses in your head for a few seconds. What's your full name? Do you like your name? Why? Why not? And here's the bigger one. Is a name important? Do you see how that last one really opens things up? It's not as easy to answer. It's a philosophical question. Suddenly, we're not just talking about whether we like or dislike our name, but we're thinking about how a name might be important as part of our identity, who we are, what makes us us. And that's what philosophy does. It invites us to go deeper, to think more consciously about the big, important issues in our life. And when we do, we not only learn more about ourselves, but about each other. Philosophy, for me, started in schools. I have first-hand experience of children as young as 5 years old asking questions and talking about why was the boy in the story bored when he had a million toys to play with? With 9 and 10-year-olds asking, what's more important, your family or your friends? And with teenagers wondering about their online life, asking, if I've got 200 friends online, does that make them my real friends? Now, once you start to notice these deeper questions, you start to notice them everywhere. I've seen it with adults in my local community discussion group asking, what if we could live forever? What would that mean for how we live our lives today? And what's important about life and death? And even spontaneously, with a couple of local builders over a lunchtime chat at my home, when I was asking them about how they came to be so skilled at their jobs, prompting them to ask, what was the point of school for me? What's best for our kids today? These are not trivial questions. These are the questions that help us to make sense of our lives, to make us think about who we are and how we should live. And the children and the adults who have engaged in these types of philosophical questions and conversations over the years have often said to me things like, I feel listened to and taken seriously. I have more respect for the views and opinions of other people. I've learned that it's okay to disagree in a considerate way. And quieter and less confident people have often said to me, philosophy gives me a voice to say what I think without a fear. And did you know that national research in schools shows evidence that philosophical thinking positively affects at least 7 out of the top 10 learning and social skills of the future? Now there's a thought for education. So, What can philosophy do to help you think your way to a better life? Let me share with you 3 things. Firstly, philosophy helps us to build our self-esteem and resilience. Life throws challenges at us, but talking more openly about the difficult stuff and what matters helps us to face those challenges with greater confidence and self-belief. We realise that we are not alone, that we have a voice and that we can be heard. Secondly, philosophy helps us to understand other people better. So much of our anxiety comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. People's choices, people's opinions, people's behaviours. We can't always control that. But we can think and choose how to respond with greater patience, empathy, and understanding. And as the Greek philosopher Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. Philosophy is not navel-gazing. It allows us those deeper conversations to make meaning of our lives, not once, but regularly, to help us get back on track when we drift from what matters most. So, what can you do to think more philosophically in your life? You don't need a book on philosophy. As you go about your life, just try these things. Listen actively to the views and opinions of other people. Pause and reflect more often and ask yourself what matters. Be curious. Ask lots of questions. Raise your awareness. Notice what you agree and disagree with. Question those answers. Defend your ideas and opinions with good reasons and evidence. And if you can, why not encourage children and young people as thinkers too? Ask them more often what they think. And on a more practical level, join a local discussion group like Philosophical Friends, set up here in Gosport for deeper conversations with other people. These are small steps, but they change the way that we view people and the world around us. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, well, this is all well and good. My life's too busy. Philosophy is not an escape from life. It is life. It's not about finding more time in the day. It's about thinking more, noticing more, caring more, and responding thoughtfully rather than reacting to people and what's happening around you. Generations of children here in Gosport schools and nationally have already benefited from philosophical thinking as part of their education and lifelong learning. And the ripple effect is powerful. Imagine then children who have learned the language of good reason and argument to resolve their squabbles. Families where conversations replace silent scrolling. Friendships where openness and honesty matter more than appearances. And workplaces where your colleagues listen and respond with patience instead of frustration. That's what practical philosophy makes possible. So I urge you tonight, when you go home, make a start. Take 5 minutes. Pause. Reflect. Ask yourself, what do I really care about? What kind of life do I want for myself, my family, my community? Because an examined life, your life, is important. And finally, remember this: philosophy is open to everyone and can happen anywhere. It's good for all of us, children, young people, adults. It's good for building communities like ours here in Gosport. And it's good in today's troublesome world where there is an even greater need for deeper thinking, conversation, questioning, and the kind of mutual understanding among people that practical philosophy brings. Thank you.